Welcome back, darlings. It's getting to that time of year where a potent pre-wash is very much needed. So, in this video, I'm going to be looking at the Nanolex Professional Pre Wash. It's a concentrated product designed to be used between 1 to 30 and 1 to 200 for paintwork, and then 1 to 10 to 1 to 30 for your wheels. I'm just going to focus on the paintwork side of things, and I'm going to be doing it at 1 to 30. But this wouldn't be much of a test if it wasn't up against a couple of other products. So let's look at the other candidates. Now, two different ways of testing this. I'm going to have the Nanolex products 1 to 30 in a regular pump sprayer as well as a foaming pump sprayer. This foaming one's the Nanolex Axle 3000 and this is the Nanolex Industry 3000. Then I'm also going to have a look at regular water to dispel the myth that, oh, you don't need a pre-wash product. If you're still saying that, you're just wrong, but I'm going to demonstrate it to you anyway. Do some ONR because I've got some mixed up. Garage Therapy Citrus at 1 to 4, the strongest strength that is. Garage Therapy GT Snow at 3% PIR, which being in a pump sprayer is just a 3% dilution, and a bit of Llama Forced. So hopefully, between all of those different products, we can have a good test selection to draw some conclusions from. The car's pretty ditched. It's been about 6 weeks since I washed it. So let me give you a close-up of the panel we're going to be working with and then start applying. So this has been a mixture of A and B roads that have been pretty muddy and wet. So that's where all this dirt's come from. So in my Nanolex pump sprayers, we've got the Nanolex Pre Wash. That's the foamer one. There's the blue top bottle is the foamer. This is just the regular spray. And not an awful lot of difference between those two, so we'll come back to that a bit later. ONR is going on at its claying dilution here, which is 16 to 1. That's the claying QD dilution. Now we've got the Garage Therapy Citrus, so that's at 1 to 4. Then we're going to be followed by regular just tap water. Nothing, it's not even deionized. And then you've got the Garage Therapy Snow V2. That's at 3%. And the Llama Forced. With the pumping spray head, because that helps its dwell time. Now we're talking about dwell time, we're going to sit here and just watch these dwell for about 5 minutes. I just wanted to put a bit more on of the Nanolex because it seemed to be disappearing. So anyway, 5 minutes of dwell. And you can really see the benefit of a foamed product here. There's one that foams well, shall we say, because the GT V2 stayed on pretty well, so has the Llama Forced. All right, we've had 5 minutes of dwell. Let's have a little look at where we're at. Now, this is very wet still, very wetted out. When I say wetted out still, I'm just going to give you an example. You can see here, there's definitely wetness on the surface. Whereas over there, it's dry. Just about to see that in the reflection there, I think. So this means the surfactants are still wetting out the panel, which is good. I can't really tell any difference between the foamed one and just the regular sprayed on one. It says it's a high foaming product. I'm not seeing it there. Especially when you compare it to the foam, the GT Snow. That really did foam up well and it's still foaming. ONR's ONR, isn't it? Citrus won't expect that to foam, not with these triggers anyway. Water's on there somewhere. GT and the Llama Forced are still foamed up quite well too. So now, let's get on with rinsing them out and see how they are. So the Arva P57 here with the nozzle set on 20 degrees for rinse. Let's have a look. And we can clearly see there are differences of where the product's been. To me, from where I'm looking at here, the GT Foam V2 and the Llama Force look far cleaner than everything else. And the Citrus, this is surprising me, I don't really like Citrus that much, but that at 1 to 4 is cleaned a lot better here than the 1 to 30. And of these two, I'll bring you in close in a sec, I feel like the foamed section is marginally better. So let's do some subjective close-up shots first, and then let's do some swipe tests to really tell if we're in that space or not, because I could be completely wrong. Now this is the dirtiest part of the car here at the front wheel. You can see there is definitely a difference. That's where there wasn't any product. This is where there was some. This is where it was some. They're very much of a muchness. Hard to tell, but this is where the ONR was. This was the Citrus. That's the water. You can clearly see that's a lot. Well, I say you clearly see. I don't know if you can on the camera, but it is certainly, there we go. You can see the difference. That's darker because it's dirtier. There's no product here. Then we've got the GT V2. So you can really see here where there wasn't any. GT V2, Stannogloss Force. And you can see kind of where the Stannogloss sprayed on and it was just splattering around a little bit, see? So those two are very, very effective. Let's do some swipe tests. Now for the swipe test, I'm not going to go down low because it's much dirtier at the front. But uniformly, they're about the same level of dirt up around this height. So that's where I'm going to do it. It's the fairest way I can think of doing it anyway. You can tell me afterwards. So, okay, this is the forced. It's pretty good. Very good, actually, I'd say. But let's have a comparison. So that's force against the GT. You might want a reference point of something that didn't have any product on. So let's try this just on the other side. There we go. So that was forced against nothing. And then that was the GT. Okay. Moving on. Now we're just into the plain water side. Yeah, much the same as I obviously had a bit more pressure here, but those are the two bits that was no pressure, sorry, no product and water. And then compared to the Stannogloss or the GT. And then citrus. Might do a better wipe there, shall I? There we go. That's better. Cool. Citrus versus GT. Well, they're both garage therapy. Citrus versus Snow V2. And then ONR I can see has not done an awful lot, so let's not bother with that one. Let's have a look here. Again, there we go. So that is the Nanolex versus the Snow V2. Snow V2 has force, of course, been very, very similar. And then finally, the Nanolex, but just on the front panel. So let's have a quick look. Oh, it's foamed. Okay, it is a dirty part of the car, but I have to say, I don't think that's done an awful lot. Not in comparison to these other pre-wash products that I've got. So what does that mean? Well, in my mind, the GT Snow V2 is definitely the best. It's equally as good here as the Stannogloss Forced, which surprised me. There are instances where Forced is better. It's very good at bug removal, better at tyre cleaning, that sort of stuff. But in this pre-wash game, very much on an even keel. So I give it to the GT purely because it's not ready to use. You get a massive dilution ratio. And the pump foamer there as well, there's 30 mil in a litre. It's pretty good, isn't it? Oh, it's a little bit more than that actually to get 3%, but very close. And then, so if those are joint first, you take your pick of which one you want. I would say the citrus is, from Garage Therapy, is second. Now, it definitely is not as good as these two, but the fact that it's that close is very good. I'm particularly unimpressed with the Nanolex there, actually. I genuinely thought that would be better. Now, I think it would achieve more if you upped the ante, but their instructions are not to, because they think that is sufficient. They say it's high foaming as well. I'm not seeing that behaviour at all. Just wanted to demonstrate that there's nothing wrong with the foam pump foamer, the Nanolex one. You can see here, what I've got is actually the remnants of the Garage Therapy Foam V2 that was in its pump sprayer, put in with the Nanolex. So this is why the foam here looks a bit thinner than it did with the standard Garage Therapy Foam V2, but also a lot thicker than the regular Nanolex stuff did. And bearing in mind they're at the same dilution. So yeah, quite surprised, a bit disappointed. What does this all mean? And why have I not got Bilt Hamber Auto-Foam in there? I know you're asking for that. I've run out of Auto-Foam because this year I've decided to use Garage Therapy Snow V2 because of this video. So go and have a watch of that. I did some really extensive testing of those two products side by side, and I think V2 is a nicer snow foam all round and cleans just as well in most circumstances. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.